right here, right now. We're going to show some great music. But first, welcome by Cat to the early morning Sunday show. Here we go.
Enter night, exit light, take my hand, off to never, never land. Boom, 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 boom.
I don't know how many other videos out there have a cat that insists on jumping in and being part of these videos. My God, come, cat. Okay, there we go. All right, it's just the stupidest thing in the whole wide world. It's like a trained cat, huh? Hey, there's a video on. I better get in. But here we go, Cat and myself. Welcome to the early morning Sunday show. The opening. I'm spent my week becoming the grandpa, doing grandpa things, which, is just, well, there's not much to do because all the kid does basically is sleep, eat, and poop. What a great life. I'm slowly getting that way in life. That's how I'm working to now. As we're getting older, eventually it will be, my whole life will be eat, sleep, and poop too. Pretty exciting stuff, but great week. It was so much fun to be with my son Eric and his wife Kim, and of course my grandson Aiden. It's very, very special time. I'm just super impressed and love. You just don't know how much you love someone, and just it's like, wow, this is amazing. But right now I'm flying home, so as in this morning, Sunday morning, time to go home. So a little bit of a pre-recorded. But let's begin. We have some really, some neat things. I got some nice records that were shown. Well, for God's sake. Hey, I'm trying to get a drink, okay? Is that all right? Oh, I have no understanding. We're going to show some records now, okay? Yeah, all right, good, thank you. Okay, cat kiss, I guess. Let's begin with Jesus Jones. Remember Jesus Jones? Right here, right now. The world's gonna be a better place. I zero idea. But I do remember this. The group was from Bradford upon Avon, which strikes me. They were formed in '88. They're still going. Bradford upon Avon. I just completely off of music. Was one place in England I wanted to see. It looked like the most beautiful place in the world. I had these books on England. I went to England for the first time right after college in '81 with a college group. It was for English literature. Right. I learned about hard cider. So, but I had this beautiful book I'd bought on England. And Bradford on Avon. It had just this beautiful look, this wonderful stream with a bridge and everything. It looked like a storybook, and I always wanted to go there. Finally, on my third trip to England, I got there and I saw it. It wasn't quite what I had expected, but still I loved it. But that's what Bradford on Avon. Okay, so I digress. This Jesus Jones, if you don't happen to know, is alt rock, kind of dance rock. They took the styles of house and techno and they made it into their own kind of version of indie rock that became so extremely popular, and especially in the UK, and it really began to come over. MTV really grasped onto this music. Well, they've done a total of 6 albums, and this is the 2-album greatest hit set. We got there. We have these inserts, and here we have bunch of words. Look at all that. So wow, there is just a lot of words on that, man. And the vinyl is kind of a I don't know. I guess you call it gold. I don't know. It's kind of an ugly gold. Doesn't matter. So, their biggest album came out in 1991, at least in the US, was called Doubt. And that was their second album. And that had the hit Right Here, Right Now. That was just everywhere. It really was about the quick end to the Cold War. But it was grasped on, but it's been used by so many people on commercials. Even my former company that I used to work for, Kmart, in 2006, used it as a campaign, Right Here, Right Now. Like, we're coming back. Nah, we were just liquidating. So, right here, right now, we're liquidating every store and employee that we have. Yeah, it might have been that way. But MTV named him Best New Artist of 1991. And so this is, very 90s, the music on here. I had no idea that Jesus Jones had enough hits to make two, they would have a 2 LP greatest hits. I mean, seriously, they only had 6 albums, it's 2. But they reissued a bunch of their albums. And I thought about just getting the album that had that Doubt. But then I thought, I'll just get greatest hits and hear everything else they had. I don't really need anything else. That has everything. I got basically 2 LPs, only did 6, so fun listen. I didn't think the production on this was very good. It seemed a little more muddled, not as crisp and sharp. The recording of this album, so I was pretty disappointed when I put it on. Found I had to increase the volume of the music because it just was hard to listen to. My new needle has helped, but it could have been better. But Jesus Jones, how about that? Right here, right now. Man, that was such a catchy song, wasn't it? It was everywhere. Jazz. I haven't shown a lot of jazz, really. We have this. This is Dizzy Gillespie. It's from Afro. It's called Afro. This is the Vinyl Me Please selection. Black. There is the little book in there. I don't think you need to see the little book. Are you okay? You're not. I'm not going to try to reach in there and grab the little book out. Really good sounding album. Very good. Vinyl Me Please continues to have great quality. This is the album Afro. And this came out in 1954. Dizzy Gillespie, known for the guy that the cheeks that would just pop out when he played the trumpet. He was born in 1917 and died in 93. He is one of the greatest trumpeters ever. He played in such a complex way that it was extremely difficult for people to copy. A lot of people copied Charlie Parker. A lot of people copied Miles Davis. Gillespie was hard to copy. Eventually, people tried to figure that out and did, but it took a long, long time. But he did this album in 54, and he used it was a jazz band that used a bunch of Latin rhythms, which was popular when you think back to the 50s, the samba, the bossa nova. They had all these different dance crazes that were really popular. Cuban music was huge. This album is filled with all-stars on here. You have Quincy Jones plays on here, J.J. Johnson, Hank Mobley, Mongo Santa Maria on the congas. Huge cast of players that were big and maybe not quite as big as they would be later on, but was playing on this album with Gillespie. They had the Cuban arranger who led the band. His name was Chico O'Farrell. Cuban, and the last name's O'Farrell. Is Cuba full of O'Malleys and O'Haras? I always thought that was just an Irish kind of a thing, but I guess not. It's also Cuban. But he did this. He led the band. He helped arrange it. This is it is just this big band sound, but filled with Latin rhythms. Now, at times, the congas and timbalas, they kind of take over. They're in the front of the music. They're definitely out front, but they almost take over what's going on, and a little too loud, I felt, on certain songs. But this was a fun listen. They do Night in Tunisia on here, which makes sense if you're going to have, these kind of productions, this kind of music. Really nice. VMP classics. Great sounding. I love Latin rhythms. This is a great example of it from the 1954. Next batch of records I have came to me from Mark Mad for Vinyl. He sent these in. These were albums that he had some extra. He's been out trying to sell, and he said, "Hey, I have some. What would you be interested in?" And we kind of walked through, and I chose a few of these, so I'd like to show you those. First off, Mark Mad for Vinyl. He's out of Rochester, New York. I've become very good friends with him. My goal is to try to get up there this year to see him. I have a couple trips I really, really want to take this year. There's be a lot I'd like to take, but only so much time. So we have a couple that I'm trying to take. And one of them would be to get up toward Rochester, New York. Cat's really settled down. So please check out Mark Mad for Vinyl. I've talked about him many times, but if you haven't looked at his channel, great channel. He has an incredible collection of the stuff he finds is pretty top notch. So you can't go wrong. Loves the 45s. So I have two albums. One of these I found when I was out looking, and one he sent me. I found this one, and Mark sent me this one. This is from the Cynics. The Cynics is out of Pittsburgh. 83 to 94, they were playing, and then they reformed in 02. They are garage rock, and they really do garage rock well. Great music. A couple years ago, I had my area. I would fly out of Pittsburgh once a month, and I was able to get together with Greg, and Greg's channel is 3 Dimensions of Music. Please check out Greg's channel. Great guy. I really like Greg. He's been very good to me. He gave me a stereo after the flood. Well, Greg and I got together. Tony P was supposed to be there from Tunes from the Man Cave. Couldn't make it. Baseball. So Greg and I said, one place I want to go. I want to go to Get Hip Records. Get Hip Records was the Cynics label. So we went down there. And, I looked at the phone. It says it's open. It's during the pandemic, by the way. So we get there, and it's kind of in just a weird part of town. It's in this big kind of a warehouse. It was closed, and I was so disappointed because I wanted to get in there to buy Cynics records. This is just a great, Get Hip Records makes fantastic garage rock. So we have these two here. This is the live album right here. This came out in 1994, and it is No Siesta Tonight. And then we have this one, which is Spinning Wheel Motel. This came out in 2011. So this one here, we have the live album, No Siesta Tonight. It is on, look at that, Get Hip Records, back here, back in 1994. We are doing colored albums already. We have a Get Hip Records sleeve. That is just great. Even, you know, in 94 that they're doing this. This is like the other stuff. There's a bunch of Cynics stuff on here and just promoting the Get Hip label. We have a lot of Nakeds, but there's a group called the Blow Ups are on here. The M80s, Big Chief, Mystic Eyes, Stump Wizards. Super cool. So just a live album. It really shows what they're doing, what they're out there. They're having a lot of fun. Just great, great garage rock. And since it's no siesta tonight, we have the Telefono. Okay. Also, then, this was a sealed copy that Mark sent me. You can see there's the band playing in 2011, back going. They're still playing. They're still making music. This also, colored vinyl, and a great little insert here. See that? Okay. What makes this album kind of fun is there is a little spinning wheel. Like Led Zeppelin 3. See, so, hey, look at that. Okay, pretty exciting, isn't it? You can just sit there and do that all day long. Got little pictures here and cutouts. So, great garage rock. That's what the Cynics are about. They are big in Spain, huge in Spain. Spain loves the Cynics. In fact, 2 of the players on here are from Spain. Their music, there's a lot of melodic jangles, but also just some buzzsaw, snarling guitars. It's great, great stuff. I've been a fan of the Cynics for years, but I rarely ever see their stuff. So just hard rocking fun, extremely consistent with their music. They're not going out there, they're not coming up with some opus, some big new thing. They are what they are. It's garage rock. Good, fun garage rock. So the Cynics, 2 albums, really exciting to get.
Not too much for me to tell. I've never found another highway. I found what I'm looking for. I don't know who I am, so I'm taking it for the door. I try to understand, but I just can't take it no more.
Next, I had never seen this, so Mark, you know, I was going through. It's Jefferson Airplane, Long John Silver. I don't know a lot about, I know Jefferson Airplane, but I've never been a collector of Jefferson Airplane. Music kind of before my time. I just never really got into them. I have a few of their albums, their big ones, you know. Won't you want somebody to love? Gotta have that. So he said, there's this one. I said, I don't know anything about that. He goes, neither do I. I said, okay, I'll try that. So Long John Silver, and this came out in, what was it, 1972. It was the last album as Jefferson Airplane. So this is interesting. Look at that. What do we have? There we go. You can see that picture there. And we have punch outs. So you can make this into a box. A cigar box, I guess. And then you pull out the album. Here we go. And you have the cigars. Cuban, no doubt about it, on Grunt Records. Of course, it does say here, 9 blends of fragrant weed humidor pack. So it looks like a cigar, but I guess it's not. So this album, when they made this, 72, it was a revolving cast of characters. People were quitting Jefferson Airplane. Hey, this person comes in, plays on this song, this one. It was a purely chaotic. They were falling apart and unraveling. The album here, there's some great stuff. There's some stuff that's kind of so-so. You have Milk Train. Milk Train was edgy, blues-infused rock. It had this Papa John Creech's fiddle is incredibly good on that album, on that song. Eat Starch, Mom. What a fantastic, I mean, if you're thinking of a title, Eat Starch, Mom. I couldn't think of anything better. But that was a heavy, hard-rocking song. Grace Slick just growls on that. She sounds so tough. But then you have another song like Easter. Easter, it has a question mark. It was kind of boring, not a lot of punch to it, not very exciting. Trial by Fire, a real country-ish rocker. Let's try country rock music. Didn't really work out. There is Alexander the Medium, which I just felt was uninspired. I didn't really like the vocals that much. So hit and miss. When they're rocking, they really rock hard. But the packaging is just pretty freaking cool, isn't that? Really, really neat. Packaging alone, very cool. I haven't seen this. Not like I've looked for it, but I've never seen this. So this was really interesting, fun to have.
Now I got the time to talk to you. You got the time to lay. I don't have to be where you're alive. You don't have to buy a give you a free
Another album we sent in was Leonard Cohen's. The best, this is songs of Leonard Cohen. You could almost call it the best of Leonard Cohen. And this is on Columbia Records. And the inner, oh, look at this. All right. We have the inner sleeve. This is just really nice. That Mark sent this. Look how complete this is. Here are the lyrics. Very nice. This album, it was released in, was it 68, I believe. And Cohen's from Quebec. He's born in 34, passed away in 2016. He was a poet and a novelist. But he wasn't really getting anywhere, and he was really disappointed. So he decided, I'm going to move to New York in 67, and I'm going to start to make music. No, now why do you think you have to sit on records, man? Quit looking at them. And so he did. He moved to New York to write music. I remember the very first Cohen album I ever got. It actually was a CD. It was called The Future, and I was reading in a magazine article, and they really, really liked it. And I did. I thought that was great. I went back and I bought this. This was in the early 90s. And I go, God, that's just kind of so boring. I was not a fan at all. And I tried a couple others of his albums, but you can find them dirt cheap. It just wasn't a big deal. So but I thought, let's try this again. And I did. So now we're talking, maybe 30 years later. And it's like, wow. This is awesome. Time changes how we hear music. Absolutely does. You just have to let it. And I was super impressed. This album here, Cohen wrote, he has on here Suzanne. That's the big song, which Judy Collins made a big hit. But at the time he wrote Suzanne, he did not think of it as a song. It was just poetry. He didn't think of it as anything. He was hanging with Judy Collins. He was actually part of the Warhol crowd, too. He was hanging out with the Andy Warhol group. In fact, Andy Warhol would say, well, he got his singing style from Nico. But he went to this fundraiser. Jimi Hendrix was even there. And there was like an open mic. You could go up and sing. And Judy Collins gets Leonard Cohen to go up there to sing Suzanne. And he starts to play. And the crowd goes nuts. They're loving what they're hearing. Cohen doesn't know what to make of it. He's kind of embarrassed, and halfway through the song, he quits and he leaves the stage. The crowd's, what the heck? And Collins talks to him, and says, let's go back up there. I'm going to go up there with you. So she takes him back up on stage, and they do Suzanne as a duet. huge. Of course, Judy Collins then made it huge. It got his career going. This is packed with great songs. Really, I truly enjoyed it. It's folk music, obviously, but he has a great way about him. His poetry is very, very good. Very interesting stuff. Happy to have it. Really interesting album.
Windowsill in this old hotel I chose. Yes, one hand on my suicide, one hand on the road.
This came in from Mark. This was sealed. Look at that. This is from 1983, out of Bear Records, out of Germany. It was a plastic bag is how they sealed it, but there it is. It was a sealed record. Early Wanda Jackson, and this is early. This is before she went into rockabilly. She was a country music singer. That's what she wanted to do. That's what she liked, because she loved the outfits that they wore. She loved to dress up like a country western singer, as you can see here. And so she was playing on the radio, extremely young, a high school girl, singing on the radio, singing country tunes. In 1956, she met this guy called Elvis Presley. He convinced her that the way to go is rockabilly, which she did, and she became a huge rockabilly. And for the next 3-4 years, she did rockabilly before she went back to country. She wanted to get back to country because this rock and roll stuff was kind of evil, though what a rockabilly voice. So this is just her early recordings. This is her first recordings. It came out of Germany, so it's a German pressing. It is extreme country, but it's Wanda Jackson. I love Wanda Jackson, and it was fun to have, so fun listen to.
So when I'm rich, you see, I'll head for Tennessee, 'cause I like my loving country style. I like my loving, huggy, kiss, country style. It's the best by test, wins by country mile.
The other album Mark showed was this one here. We have ZZ Hill's Greatest Hits. And ZZ Hill, blues singers out of Texas, born 35, passed in 84. He spent a lot of time trying to figure out who he is, what's he going to be. He started as a gospel singer, like so many of them, but then he went solo, kind of modeled himself after B.B. King. Well, eventually Otis Redding heard him and put out his very first single back in the early 60s. Nothing really happened. He went from label to label to label and just trying. He would have a hit song here, do something there. Nothing would really happen. Eventually, he went to Melico, and that's what's on this label, Melico. They revived his career, and that was back around in 1980. And so, they put out these different albums, and he began to take off. He did quite well. No, dude, you don't need to. Why do you go on the records every time? And so they got his career revived, and he did quite well. This is the greatest hits. The music, it's blues-based, but it's more rhythm and soul going on. There's a lot of a bigger band sound that's happening. ZZ Hill, you can find a lot of his albums out there. And so, he passed away. He had a car accident that eventually created a blood clot that killed him. But this is blues with soul. Horns, backing singers, the whole works. Pretty cool stuff. So, very nice.
But tonight I'm gonna let my head down and get down with these down home blues. Down home blues. Down home blues. All she wanted to hear was some down home blues. All night long.
The final thing, and Mark sent this to me a long time ago. It is promotional material. It says, in this envelope contains a Curtis Mayfield poster. and it's sealed. And outside I find, I go, gosh darn, I never opened it. So let's see what that poster looks like. That was a lot harder to open than I would have expected. And here we have Mark finds the most interesting things in the whole wide world. And we have this huge Curtis Mayfield poster. Is that not fun? That's an unveiling. Wow. Wow. I don't have room in my office for it. Record room, but that is neat. Really neat. So thank you, Mark, very much. And thank you all of you for tuning in, being part of today's early morning Sunday show. Have yourself a great week. We'll have a midweek, probably Thursday. Still working on what it's going to be, but appreciate you dropping by. See you later. Bye.